Would you like some tea? Grab a damn cup.
Attention Hoonigan viewers, we interrupt this program with a very special message. Guess what? We've got new backpacks. That's right, Hoonigan actually came out with something that is really nicely designed and constructed. Can hold up to a 17-inch laptop. You got pockets for days. It's even got top secret stash pocket. Basically a bulletproof construction.
Indestructible.
Metal tabs. It's the next generation of Hoonigan merch. Now don't you fret, we still got Old Faithful with, of course, the felt bottom. On top of that, we've got new stuff like fanny packs. New Hoonigan monster effing huge fanny packs. You can fit about 9 crispy boys in here. Also available in the total rip-off Gold's Gym design. And for all of you gym nuts out there, Hoonigan gym bags. It's a duffel bag. Oh, you even got a separate shoe pouch. And for those hot days out by the racetrack, you've got new Hoonigan Cooler. Now, if you play your cards right, you can get 12 ice-cold Coors Banquets in here. You could probably put a sandwich in there too, if you eat. So, why don't you sack up and head on over to Hoonigan.com.
This is the one.
Yeah.
This is it. We got Phil here. This is the one. Like, this is the 86 that everyone gets mad at.
Yeah, the controversial 86.
Yeah.
That's the one.
So, tell me about it. Well, like, how did it start? It obviously started out as a stock car, but did you drift it when it was stock?
Yeah, so I had it as a sort of daily driver for a while. Just, I'd done a 20 valve conversion on it. It didn't really work very well. It was repaired from quite a rusty car. Sort of normal stuff that goes on 86s. We ended up buying this ASCAR, which is like a UK series of NASCAR, sort of a lower level thing that they come with like LS1s, but a lot of the other stuff, like the Winters drop gear rear axle and everything, is the same as what comes in the NASCAR. And at the same time, our S15, that was our main competition car, became kind of illegal for use in the competition series, the British Drift Championship over here, because the 2JZ was, was pushed back through the bulkhead, through the firewall, about 30 centimeters. So we were no longer allowed to use that, and we were looking for something crazy to build. So we decided to kind of combine these two things that we've got and build this.
I'm actually pretty sad about the state of the 86 in the US. We haven't had an 86 in Formula Drift for quite a few years now, maybe over 5-6 years.
Yep.
It's actually cool to see that these are still being used for professional drifting or
professional. Yeah. I'm not sure about that, but the one thing this thing really does know how to do is put on a wild show. I still get out of it like shaking because it's a wild ride, that's for sure. So when we first talked about doing this, one of the big things that everyone had problems with was they were thinking it was just going to be, you know, another V8 converted 86, of which there are a few. It's not that. It's kind of a whole re-engineering process. The lump is an LS. It's an LSX currently, 7.4 litre, 454. With a load of cool stuff done to it, but it's also the parts that go with it, the work that's done to the rear end, the Winters axle, the 10.5 inch, everything that's done to it, and the fenders and everything that we custom made these. Tube frame front and rear, we got real carried away with it, and it ended up being something. It's still an 86 in its core, in the firewall to firewall, if you like.
This has got to be the most wild 86. I mean, I've seen so many of these, but this is, okay, so the original came with a 1.6 liter, right?
Yep.
And then now you're a 7.4
liter.
7.4 liter.
And normally we have an RHS aluminium block in it normally. We've got our steel block LSX in it, but it's got quite a few trick parts on it. Like this is prototype Gen V, new Gen V ITB kit. It's got a load of Tony Mamo stuff inside it, so valve train, cam and everything is pretty big. It's pretty Larry. It's a lot of engine to fit in.
So it's drive-by-wire?
Yep. So that's a single motor by Gen V that runs all 8 throttle bodies.
That is so cool.
Yeah, and it's dry sump and everything.
Oh man, just this linkage up here is such a interesting detail.
Yeah, so we had to fabricate that. That's Craig from Dynatalk next door, who built most of this car. The original kit was going to have the motor poking out here, and I hate having stuff sticking out of the bonnet, out of the hood. I like to have it covered, so we decided to just re-engineer it and keep it all compact and underneath the runners there. People were really unsure about is the fact that, you know, I was talking about this, saying, you know, we're going to build this car, it's going to be a 17-inch, 18-inch stagger, and there's one rule, you know, you don't put big wheels on an 86 back then. But I had this, you know, vision in my mind of what I wanted to do with the rear and how high I wanted to bring up that wheel to get the ride height where it needs to be. Yeah. And yeah, I think I won that battle with it. It's not at its lowest ride height at the moment. We were on a bumpy track last weekend, so we do have to raise it up if the track's particularly bumpy. It's a bit dirty.
I think our audience will forgive you because this is not a show car. This is a runner.
Absolutely.
And oh wow.
So yeah, the biggest thing you can probably see just about down there is that the big 10.5-inch Winters drop gear rear end, how high that sits up into the car to get the ride height where we want it.
And this area, this compartment is sealed. You have this
that's right. Yeah, so it's all completely sealed. And being a big guy in a small car, my driving position is quite far back as well. So all of the cage is basically designed to bring it back and also help with sort of the center of gravity a little bit, being a bigger guy.
This is really, really cool because essentially this whole area has become part of the cooling system. Right?
Yeah, absolutely, and it works perfectly, works really well for us. I got to say it's a bit rough and ready after a few seasons of use, and we're not actually doing much in the way of competing in the car at the moment. It's still functional, it still works well. Constantly developing the suspension on the rear. It runs a 3-link setup, so we're still trying to get some kind of better feel for the car when it's off throttle. On throttle, it's steerable, pointable. I can put it where I want to. When I lift off, it all gets a little bit like the car's doing what it wants to do rather than what I want it to do.
You got Lewis over there being weirdo. So it has a sequential?
Yeah, it's a Quaife sequential in it, yeah.
Oh, that's so cool, just to see the gears going up this way.
Yeah.
I really like this part of it. I feel like this is a very European thing. I've only seen this on European drift cars, where it's they make a separate compartment.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
I guess I think the fuel system rules are slightly different in FD and stuff, but yeah, we still have a completely enclosed fuel system, but that for me is all about smoke. You know, we've been breathing this stuff in for 18 years, so you know, I try to breathe in as little as I can nowadays. It's not good for you.
Well, our arms are about to fall off probably. Once we turn 65, our arms will fall off. All right, so for those of you who say, hey, this should be on Build Bio, I'm doing a Build Bio right now, okay? All right? Stop commenting that it needs to be on Build Bio.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what you've done underneath here.
Obviously getting an engine like this in place, it's really important to have it as low as possible. So it's a daily engineering dry sump system on it, small flywheel, Quaife gearbox, and everything's kind of to the rules of, we have similar rules to FD in terms of what we can do to the transmission tunnel size and things like that. So all of that's in as far down and back as we can put it whilst we've still got ground clearance. And I say ground clearance, we do struggle still, as you can probably see, flatten off the exhaust here, but we're running a twin 3-inch exhaust into some kind of spaghetti back here because we have serious noise problems at tracks in Europe. So for this car, we have 3 different options of silencer. Obviously, we want it to be as loud as possible, put on the best show that we can. But when we need to quieten it down, we've got a couple of different options that, you know, work that one out in your head, which goes where.
Right.
And this is the middle silencer. This is the this is sort of a semi-quiet silencer.
Trust me, I had a chance to experience that firsthand when Mad Mike brought his 4-rotor to Gottville for the first time.
Yep.
He actually stuffed Red Bull cans into his exhaust to quiet it down.
We've got suspension-wise, we've got like kind of the standard mounting points for the lower. The top is a 3rd link instead of a 4-link. Panhard rod, again using some of the ASCAR parts, we've got sort of all the adjustability that we need in here. And again, this absolutely huge drop gear Winters diff here takes up most of the rear end.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the thing about this car that makes it so special of what you have done to the suspension, especially the rear. Like that's kind of one of the things that just 86 struggles with, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And to be able to run sort of 18-inch wheels on it and still looks right and it goes well. That was the goal. That was what we wanted to achieve, and it worked out really nicely. Yeah. So the front is largely S chassis. So we have to have a standard 86 cross member, but it's modified to have an S14 steering rack in it. We run Geomaster 3 knuckles on it. We've got S chassis, Driftworks lower arms, and basically a custom tie rod setup here. And CS2 coilovers, and again the front mounting point of the tension rod here is 86, and then it's just converted into S-body stuff there.
So what kind of power steering is it?
It's LS power steering into the S14 rack. It's all pretty much like off-the-shelf stuff. Works pretty nicely, to be fair.
What a great build.
Thanks. It's something different.
Yeah. Thank you so much for showing us this.
No worries. It's a pleasure to show you.
I can't wait to see what else you're going to do to this. It's kind of like a constantly evolving project.
That's it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, very cool.
Thanks, man.
That was definitely a wrap. What do you think, Lewis?
Yo, that whip right over there, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, he went over the curb too.
You went over the curb?
Just held it.
Hold on. I gotta see this here. Look at this guy's line. Oh, it wasn't too bad.
That wasn't too bad.
It was like a little squiggly.